Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Winecast. This cast is going after a grape that's gone by a few different names and has traveled a fair distance over the course of its career, making a long schlep from its birthplace in France to the Andes Mountains of South America and beyond. This cast is about Malbec. Or, at least it's called Malbec in most of the world, and in Bordeaux, which is probably its place of origin. Except on the right bank of the Gironde estuary in Bordeaux, where it goes by Pressac. And if you leave Bordeaux and head a bit to the east, to the relatively little-known Cahors region, you'll hear it called Caux, which may have been its original name, or Auxerrois, which can be confusing because Auxerrois, or more properly Auxerrois Blanc, is also the name of a white grape that's a member of the Pinot family and is absolutely not Malbec and shouldn't be confused with it. Speaking of grape families, our grape, Malbec, is a cross between a little-known grape called Magdalen Noir de Charente and another little-known grape called Prunellar that probably happened in the Bordeaux region. If Magdalen Noir de Charente sounds familiar, that's because it's come up in a previous cast, specifically the one on Merlot, where it came to light that Magdalen Noir is also one of Merlot's parents, along with Cabernet Franc, making Malbec and Merlot half-siblings, and, I suppose, making Cab Franc Malbec's step-parent, if you're prone to thinking about grapes that way. Now that we know Malbec's parents, we've covered the origins of nearly all of the red Bordeaux grapes. And it turns out they're pretty closely related, with Cabernet Franc and, to a lesser extent, Magdalen Noir being the connection between them. Cab Franc is the parent, with Sauvignon Blanc, of Cabernet Sauvignon, with Gros Cabernet of Carmenère, and with Magdalen Noir of Merlot, while in addition to Merlot, Magdalen Noir is the parent with Prunellar of Malbec. The only grape missing is Petit Verdot, which, as far as the Bordeaux family goes, is an outlier, with a different set of parents that's only partly known, and probably a different place of origin than the other grapes. So much for its origins, but what's Malbec up to now? Well, its fortunes have been on an upswing, and as of 2010, it's currently the 21st most planted varietal in the world, which is up from 39th and 52nd over the previous 2 decades. By a large majority, the grape's top plantings are in Argentina, where it takes up 18% of total Argentine vineyard acreage, and where those Argentine vines make up 75% of all worldwide plantings of the grape. After Argentina, most of the rest of Malbec in the world is planted in Chile, France, Uruguay, and New Zealand. When talking about the characteristics of a Malbec, there's something important to keep in mind. It's pretty certain that the version of Malbec that made it to Argentina was a Malbec clone that's now extinct in France, perhaps because of the phylloxera epidemic that hit after it left, or for some other reason. So Malbec from France, in addition to having different physical characteristics like larger berries, will also differ consistently and noticeably from Argentine Malbec in its aromas, flavors, and tannin profile. Malbec aromas and flavors tend toward fairly intense and dark fruits, with plum being something of a signature descriptor. In the French areas that produce the wine, the fruit that tends to complement the plum is a tart, dark cherry, and in Argentina and other New World areas, the cherry tends to drift toward a riper and more luscious blackberry. On the savory side, you might find some tobacco, black pepper, leather, and often something like a little milk chocolate. Malbec from either region tends to have deep purple to its hue, and both acid and tannin tend to hang around the medium plus or medium high end of things, with the most tannic examples coming from France. The body of these wines can be medium, but in Argentine examples, which are known for their lusciousness, that can slide over pretty easily into full-bodied. The combination of acid and dense fruit make this wine a great option to pair with lots of different dishes, but it goes especially well with the foods of its adopted home in South America: roasted, well-seasoned meat dishes and hearty vegetable dishes brimming with herbs. So, where do you start? Well, though this grape's origins are in France, the most wide-ranging, accessible, and varietally pure examples most consumers are likely to find will be coming from Argentina, and that's the best place to begin. Mendoza to the north is Argentina's Malbec powerhouse, and you won't want for examples to check out. If you can, make sure you try some wine made from high-elevation fruit from the Luján de Cuyo and Uco Valley subregions of Mendoza. At higher altitudes, temperatures go down, helping to maintain acid in the grapes and the finished wines. But also with high altitudes come greater swings between daytime high temperatures and nighttime low temperatures. And these very low nighttime temperatures also help to slow down a process called respiration that happens at night and consumes organic compounds in the grapes. Slowing down respiration results in grapes with greater aroma, color, and flavor intensity. The high altitude also exposes grapes to more solar radiation that both cuts down on green or pyrazine notes in the juice, but also causes the grape skins to thicken, probably as a form of defense against the UV and other radiation it's exposed to. And these thicker skins lead to greater tannin structure in the wine. So you're definitely getting something different when you try a high-altitude Malbec. And while Mendoza is an amazing region, don't ignore Malbecs from everywhere in Argentina, especially from Salta, that actually has the world's highest elevation vineyards, and San Juan. In France, sampling Malbec is more complicated because the grape tends to find most of its expression as a blending partner in wine regions like Bordeaux and the Loire Valley. Though it once sat in the driver's seat of many Bordeaux blends before its younger step-sibling Cabernet Sauvignon was even a thing, fewer and fewer top chateaux in the region have been using it in their blends. There's still some chateaux, though, especially in the Côte de Bourg on the right bank of the Gironde estuary, that produce 100 or near 100% examples of Malbec. These wines will usually be classified under the unglamorous and very generic Bordeaux AOC, but they're worth a little research and a look if you're interested in getting a look at what Malbec might have been like in its old home. In the Loire, it figures in blends in the Anjou and Touraine subregions of the area, but again, only as a minor player in blends. Cahors, to the east of Bordeaux, is perhaps the only region in France where varietal production of Malbec is alive and well, and so it merits some attention. Wines from Cahors go by the alluring moniker of black wines and must contain at least 70% Malbec, or Co as it's called there, with the rest of the blend filled out by Merlot or Tannat. But more and more examples of 100% Malbec are coming out of the region. The soils in Cahors are rich in limestone, and this terroir seems to give the Malbec grown there an especially tannic and deeply pigmented expression, as well as an overall rustic quality. Thanks as always for joining me for another Winecast. I hope you found it both enjoyable and informative, and if you did, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, I always love to hear from you in the comments. I'm your host, the Unknown Winecaster, and I'm out. Enjoy the grape, but always enjoy it responsibly.